Chapter 10 Yasmanno dvijate loko lokanno dvijate cha yah harshamarsh bhayo dve gair mukto yah sa cha me priyah. Those who are not a source of annoyance to anyone and who in turn are not agitated by anyone, who are equal in pleasure and pain and free from fear and anxiety, such devotees of mine are very dear to me. Web of worry and anxiety. Parth was walking on his balcony in a hasty way. He kept checking his phone every minute and then. He had texted Kalyani hours back. Hey babe. Hi. Where are you? Waiting. Are you angry with me? I'm sorry for not picking up your calls. He had called her several times too, but she did not pick up his phone. The ring kept going for a while and then it said, "The number you are calling is currently busy. Please try after some time." He tried again, but it seemed that Kalyani was rejecting his calls on purpose. He did not know what she was thinking and wanted to know what was going on in her head. He was worried that he had ignored her for so long that she was going to distance herself from him. What was I thinking? She kept trying to reach me, calling me, but I didn't even text her back. Oh God, what have I done? It was 3 a.m. in the morning. Parth was still waiting for her to call or to see his text at least, but it did not happen. He did not feel like sleeping anymore. Even though he had to go back to the office the next day, Parth was going through all his old photos with Kalyani. He remembered how he used to feel so happy and understood because of her. They both were two peas in a pod, and it was the very thing that gave him hope about his future when nothing was going right. He knew that she was the one for him. He had been waiting for the day he was going to propose to her and get married to her. That dream looked far away now. Parth's mind became blank, and a tear rolled out from his eyes. He was in a situation where he might have to let go of her. Just thinking of that gave him pain. Kalyani meant the world to him. He tried to think of what Krish had said about the attachment and detachment theory. He tried to apply that in his situation and failed to see how it could help him in any way. How do I feel detached from the one person I love so much? I can try all I want, but the very thought of Kalyani leaving me is extremely painful. I cannot think of anything else. What should I do? His mind gave him only one answer. He opened his chats with Krish and was about to text. Then he looked at the time. It was 5 a.m. in the morning. He didn't know when 2 hours had passed like that. I don't know if I should be taking his counsel on this. It's very early in the morning. I believe I should just leave him a message asking for a meeting after work, but that would be too late by then. I feel so restless. Parth was not able to think clearly. He wanted to find a solution to his problem immediately. Even though he knew he might not get a reply for hours to come, he texted Krish. Good morning, Krish. I'm sorry for disturbing you at this hour, but I'm stuck again. I couldn't sleep all night. I feel like I won't be able to come out of this mess this time. I just wish I could listen to your wisdom. Please let me know if you can meet me anytime today. Parth put the phone aside and took a deep breath. There was nothing that he could do at that moment. He looked outside. People were beginning to get on with their day. Parth just started blankly at the horizon. He knew he would have to get ready for the day himself too, whether he felt ready or not. Suddenly, he heard a beep on his phone. Who could be texting at this hour? He looked at it and was shocked to see that Krish had replied to his message. He picked up his phone and read his text, which said, A very good morning, Parth. I was just meditating. I'm sorry I could not reply to your message immediately. I'm going for a jog now. Do you wish to join me? We can talk about your situation then. Parth was shocked. How early had Krish woken up? He was amazed at how active and considerate he was even at this hour of the day. He immediately texted back, I would be joining you, Krish. Krish had sent his location for Parth to reach there. He did so in a jiffy. Krish was getting warmed up to begin jogging when Parth arrived there. In his shorts and workout gear, he ran up to him and joined in his warm-up. Krish said, huffing a little, Good morning, Parth. Are you ready to go for a jog? Yes, good morning. I am. Krish began running and Parth followed suit. Krish asked him, So Parth, you didn't sleep, right? Parth looked at him embarrassingly and said, Yes, I could not. Can you tell? A little. So, tell me, what happened? It's about me and Kalyani. What happened now between you two lovebirds? She's not picking up my calls, didn't even see my texts. I waited all night for her to contact me, but it seems she doesn't even want to talk. I don't want to lose her. She did not pick up your calls. Not just that, she was rejecting my calls. Krish thought to himself for a moment and said, So, why do you think she did that? Parth was quick to answer. Without taking even a breath, he said, It's because I haven't been giving her any time. She must be angry with me, and that's why she's rejecting my calls. I'm not even blaming her for this behavior. I wish she would just let me explain. But you had already talked to her about your situation, right? Krish reasoned with him. Yes, I did, but I feel so afraid that she's going to... He could not complete the sentence. Krish said sympathetically, That she would let your relationship go. Yes, I just didn't want to say that. Krish stopped jogging and Parth stopped with him too. Krish suggested, Let's have some coconut water. Parth nodded, huffing and said, Yes, I'm really thirsty too. Come, let's refresh ourselves. Krish patted his back and ran towards the coconut shop nearby. Bhaiya, 2 nariyal pani please. Krish said to the vendor. Ji, the vendor said and gave them both a smile. Krish was busy taking in the morning breeze. He was taking deep breaths and enjoying himself. Parth, on the other hand, was still worried about Kalyani. He was yawning every now and then too because of the lack of sleep. He sat down on a stool and then grabbed the coconut water that the vendor pleasantly served them both. Thank you, Bhaiya, Parth said to him. Krish grabbed his coconut water and sat beside Parth. After taking a sip, Krish felt energized and he looked at Parth, who was sitting gloomily and lost in thoughts. Parth, Krish said with compassion. Yes, Krish. Parth said sincerely. Are you feeling better now? Yes, I am. A little. Let's continue with what we were discussing. You said you are afraid that you do not want to lose Kalyani. But I want to ask you, are you sure that there was no other reason that she did not pick up your call? How can you become so restless just based on the thought in your head that she's not picking up your calls because she wants to break up with you? Parth's eyes were alive again and he said, I didn't see or understand any other way why she would not pick up my call. She has never done that before to me. It just doesn't make sense. What other reason could there be? I'm not aware of what the actual reason could be. But you should not be so sure of something that you just thought out of fear in your head. Perhaps there is some other reason. Remember when you were not able to contact her, she must have gotten worried like this too. But when you talked to her and told her the reason, she understood that, right? Yes, she did, indeed. She was very understanding of me then, and I was relieved. When Parth heard his own words, he realized his own mistake and said, "Yes, I believe I should have more trust. I will give her a call again." Krish smiled and said, "Yes, you should, but finish your drink first." Parth smiled and raised his coconut water and said, "Cheers, cheers." Krish said and tapped his coconut water. "I'm wondering, Krish, is it the coconut water or is it your wisdom that is making me feel so good right now?" Krish laughed heartily and suddenly Parth's phone rang. Parth picked it up to see that it was a call from Kalyani. Elated, he immediately jumped out of his stool and said, "It's Kalyani." Krish was smiling and gave him a wink. Parth picked up his phone to say hello to her, but she spoke before him. "Parth, I am back now." As soon as Parth heard that, he felt his throat go dry. His mind began playing all sorts of scenarios to figure out what could have happened. His hands became a little shaky, and Krish was worried to see him like that. With her broken voice, Parth asked Kalyani, "What? Why? Where were you? What took you so long? Why didn't you tell me all this before? Are you okay? Did something happen?" Parth, listen." Kalyani interrupted and continued, "Nothing happened to me. It is just that my sister came over my place unexpectedly. I told you that she's about to get married, right? She and her fiancé invited me to go out with them." "Oh." Parth was relieved, but he was a little furious too. "Yes," Kalyani continued. "I could not pick up your call. I am sorry about that." On hearing Kalyani's pleasing voice, Parth's heart melted a little. His anger got subdued, and he said, "Kalyani, I'm just happy to see that you're all right. I was getting really worried about you." "I'm really sorry, Parth. I should have called you back, but we were just so busy having fun. I will send you the pictures." "I would love to see them," Parth said and had a big yawn. Hearing that, Kalyani asked him, "You are still sleeping? Don't you have to get ready for work?" Listening to that, Parth laughed to himself and said, "You have gotten it totally upside down, babe." "What?" "I will tell you everything in the evening." "All right, babe. I will see you later then." "See you." Parth sat down back on the stool and Krish asked him, "What happened, Parth? I saw your face turning pale, then blue, then red, and then back to normal in just this one small conversation." Parth smiled at that and said, "It was just that you were right again. Come, let's head back home and we can discuss this along the way." Krish and Parth talked about what had happened early in the morning. "I was so quick to judge the situation. I didn't see other possibilities, given the fact that something similar had already happened with me some time back." "Yes, you were so blinded by your fear of losing her that you could not think rationally in the situation. But won't you say that when you love someone, you're always afraid of losing them?" "Parth, that is attachment, not love." "How, Krish? How is worrying for someone you love not love?" Krish asked Parth sincerely then. "Tell me, Parth, what was it that you were worried about?" "I was worried that because of me being unavailable, Kalyani might decide to leave me." "Yes, your worry was coming from a fear that Kalyani was going to leave you, not from love. If your thoughts had been coming from love, you would not be so restless and sleepless. You created so many unreal scenarios in your head, which is fine. It is the brain's task to calculate every risk and go through each possible worst-case scenario. But it was your fault to believe that it was true. You allowed your own thoughts to scare you." Parth was listening intently. He now understood what had happened in that moment. All the while, when he could not reach Kalyani, he was making himself scared of his own thoughts. He said, "I see it now. Please explain more. When we are encountered with a situation or even a possibility that could harm our well-being, our brain begins to play out all the possible scenarios in order to prepare the body for the worst. This is actually a wonderful system to ensure our survival. But how many times do these scenarios come true? 99% of these worst-case scenarios thoughts never come true. So, what are we to do with this inbuilt system that is meant to protect us? Do we believe everything that the mind is telling us? Should we drop all our rational thinking when our mind becomes busy figuring out these scenarios? No, absolutely not. Should we believe the very first thought that comes to our minds? Not at all. Then what we need to understand is that the situation might not be just the way we are thinking it to be. Yes, you are absolutely right. Parth said. Krish nodded and then continued. What we need to do first is to realize that we are panicking or freaking out. Yes, we need to realize first that our nerves are acting up, and we need to calm ourselves first and foremost. Now the next step should be to take deep breaths and calm ourselves. It helps to count them. 1, 2, and 3. While taking those deep breaths, one should make it a habit to watch the thoughts that are arising in one's head. Just go into the Sakshi Bhav mode and watch the thoughts arise and settle themselves on their own. When you become like that, you will be able to see that these thoughts are like the waves in the ocean. You can watch them arise and go a little far. And sometimes they can be really very much like a storm. But no matter how big the waves are, they are always meant to settle themselves down. You understand? Yes, this is interesting indeed. Please continue on what one should do next. So, watch these thoughts come up. They could be in the form of voices or imagery. You just watch them how they are. Are they negative? Or are they just very negative? Depending on the situation, our minds can come up with some absurd conclusions at times too. Just watch them arise. Now, while keeping your breathing steady, you will realize that those thoughts aren't able to affect your mood or your emotions anymore. This gets better with practice. At first, it is really hard to just put our primitive emotions aside and just become an unassuming observer. It was the same with me too. Parth was surprised to hear that. Krish also used to feel out of control at times. His expressions gave it all way to Krish, who smiled to himself and took another sip. I cannot actually believe that even you, who I admire and get inspired by so much, used to get this feeling of not being in control. I almost imagined you being like this since birth, to be honest. He smiled and Krish broke into laughter. You couldn't be funnier, Parth. Nobody is just born this way. I don't know about other people, but I have always applied discipline and practice to my everyday life. It tends to get mundane at times, but it is how I get my work done. It is how I keep myself in good health, both physically and mentally. You can achieve that too with practice, yes? That's why I'm here. He raised his glass and clinked it with Krish's. Please continue. I hope I have not been taking too much time of yours by turning my sessions with you into big lectures. Krish joked. No, not at all. In fact, it is the best time of my day whenever I get to meet you. But don't tell that to Kalyani. And they both laughed. So Krish, how is it that you became so much in control of who you are? And how do you control yourself? You're almost like a master. The key is to remember that one should never try to control anything, rather be in the flow. But that is a conversation that would be suited for a later time. Let's get back to our conversation about what we should do when unsuitable thoughts arrive in our minds. As I was saying, we should see them like the waves going up and down. Sometimes be ferocious flames, while some others might be tender, and we would not even know of their existence. For now, our focus will be on the ones that make our system go haywire. When we are having the worst case scenario thoughts in our heads, our bodies tend to get sweaty and our heartbeats become more erratic. Not to mention, our breathing also becomes irregular. So, that is why it really helps to control our breathing first. When we are able to do that, we are getting our bodies to calm down. Always take a deep breath first and then let it go into the deepest parts of your lungs. Let it be that way, and then, when you feel ready, exhale slowly. Very slowly. Then the next step is to watch the thoughts in your head as if they were waves. Do not react to them. Just watch them, and by using your rationale and good judgment, allow yourself to slowly grasp the meaning behind them. Ask yourself, if what these thoughts are saying, does that even make sense? Is it really logical to think that way? When you are calm, you will be able to see that and understand yourself. It is to be remembered that 90% of the, or should I repeat, 99% of our thoughts never actually come true. I am talking about the negative thoughts that we have when we feel pressured or in an unexpected situation. Parth was listening intently. Removing his finger from under his chin, he said, "Now it is finally starting to make sense. I can see it now." Yes. Parth clasped his hands together and said, "The first reaction should be not panicking. And to not panic, we must make ourselves calm. And the way to do that is to start with breathing. Then, as our breathing gets stable, we should watch the thoughts in our head go by as the waves in the ocean do." Beautiful. Now you are getting it. Then we should apply our own rational side of the mind to make sense of the situation, remembering that the very thought that is panicking the hell out of me is just a thought, that's all. And thoughts like these don't come true 99% of the time. Yes. But then what about the remaining 1%? Parth suddenly got worried. His countenance changed from a confident one to a worried one. Krish nodded and said, "It is a good question that you asked just now." Yes. The 1%. What should one do about it? I will tell you now this, Parth. There are many things in our lives that we cannot control, no matter how much we try to. There will be times when things will go wrong. There will be times when we will make mistakes or meet with unfavorable situation unintentionally. So, then what are we left with? There is no use trying to control the outcome of the situation that is out of our control. Parth took a deep breath and sighed. I feel so much peace now that you have said it. Yes, it is absolutely true that there will be times when I won't be able to control everything, no matter how much I care. Yes, and that is where again our rational mind plays an important role. When we use our rationale to figure out what is actually controllable by us and what is not, we find so much peace inside. We no longer attempt to make ends meet where there is nothing to be done, and we can just let the storm calm itself down, and that's all one can do about it. Yes, sometimes we need to let the storm pass by itself, and we should not worry too much about what we cannot control. By making logical and rational thinking, we can definitely keep things balanced and going nicely, because they are out of control indeed. We can do that for ourselves, right? We can, and we should control everything we can. There is a very important point to be recognized here. The only thing or person that we can actually change is ourselves. We might attempt to change the other person, but that is also out of our control eventually. We should never ever force anyone to change, and it is not a good idea to expect them to change for you. So, we should only try to change people and situations out of love and respect. Yes, that is important. Thank you for pointing that out. There are times when we feel we can change other people too. But that rarely happens. If we pressure them too much, they might just put on a show or pretend for a while. But that cannot change the bottled up emotions or feelings of rejection spurring inside them, right? Yes, no one likes to be forced. No one likes to be told what to do out of their own will. This is true indeed. So from now on, I will try to change everything I can within myself to make a positive impression on my work and on the people around me too. I would do that with the utmost love and care. I know I have a lot that I need to improve, so I'm going to approach that with kindness. I will ditch the impossible expectations of myself and I will let the results come out naturally. I would pay heed to what is in my hands and what is not. I will not waste my energy thinking or worrying about things that are not in my control. Krish was feeling proud of how well Parth had been able to grasp and learn so much so quickly. He smiled warmly at him and said, "And there's another catch. We should prepare for the worst situation, but there can be times when there might arise a situation that we have never really even dreamed of in our wildest imaginations." That is true. So what could be really bad is that it would be unprecedented? Yes, but that is also out of our hands. We should just plan according to what we can change and let life happen. True. We should have faith in God that He will take care of things that we haven't even thought of, and that He will guide us when we find ourselves in unfavorable situations. That's why we pray. Parth had never been the type to have too much faith in God. He remembered his mother telling him repeatedly to pray and perform puja. He did that out of obligation, but because of the situations in his life, he had stopped believing in God altogether. He kept his head down and said, "Yes, indeed." Krish sensed the undertone, but he realized that it would be another long conversation. He just said, "All right, now it's time for the both of us to go home. What do you say?" Parth suddenly looked outside and realized that it had grown dark indeed. He said, "Yes, I was so engrossed in today's talks that I almost forgot. I should be heading home now. And as always, it was my biggest pleasure to have this discourse with you and receive your knowledge, Krish." "The pleasure is all mine,"